All shibbity bippo.
Oh my god. I've forgotten how to do this. How does it work? What do you do? Oh, my God. Oh, there we go. We're live. Mute that bitch and woo! Ready when you are, big boy.
Alrighty then. Let's get this going. Hush. All right, now I'm ready to go.
Are you certain?
Now I am.
Okay, fine. Let's go.
All right. Welcome, all of you fish bowls and tadpoles, you Bunsen burners and Timmy Turners. Welcome to the third annual semi-regular, mostly coherent, and quasi-rectangular 2024 Year in Film Review. Woo! Yeah! Woohoo! Oh, yeah. Sip on those drinks and drink those monsters. You know it, baby. Now, where we bring you our hottest takes, and we are your hottest dates. This side of the film sphere. Let's Kieran those Culkins and Adam your Brodies. Grab your brooms and your vials of youth, your kissing cousins, and head down to a prison on the dunes and talk to a parrot about death and find out that Mean Girls is in fact a musical. And in nombre de Padre, de Filho, de Espiritu Santi, amen. And hey, man, I hardly know her. Speaking of men, I hardly know. I am your tall drink of steak with lips as sweet as salt. I am the best man to host your film awards besides Conan O'Brien, a man with as much hair as me, just pointing in the opposite direction. But goddamn, do I wish I was a ginger. Could you imagine this face on fire? Hey, Conan. Hey, Conan, baby, come here. Come here. Come here. No, a little closer. Who's your, hairdresser? Send them my way. Anyways, I'm Kay.
Is Conan in the room with us right now, Kay?
You can't see over in the corner. And now,
could you imagine if he was just sitting there? Like he's just,
just
hairs just bouncing around. Shit.
That would be a Conan O'Brien bit to come in on a podcast that does not do nearly the numbers and just is there for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
When we clip this, we are going to tag Conan and see if he wants to do that. And joining me is the Almanac of the Outback, the lexicon of Hollywood and beyond. He'll take you to Letterboxd and have you back before sunrise. He's easy on the eyes, always cries, and in episode 4, Tarkin dies. It's my boy, Naf.
Fucking spoilers, man.
Get the fuck over it.
Can't believe this. Anyway, hey guys, I'm excited.
What's up?
We were just pre-stream going through like our lists individually and kind of prepping the stuff for here. And I will say, I forgot what a good year it was for films in 2024 somehow. Like the first 3 months of 2025 have destroyed my soul so much that I forgot how brilliant a year I had last year and films had last year. And wait till you get to the fun facts because I have some shit for you. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh my god!
Kay, take us through
the amount of fun facts is just incredible. But as a reminder, you can find One with the Films on any of your podcasting platforms of choice, as well as live and on demand right here, as you can clearly see. And if you are in the live chat, please feel free to join in the conversation. We always love to hear from you. And if you're listening on demand, don't worry, we still love you too. Just a little less. Yeah.
Not me. He might love you a little less because he's got like these weird prejudices, as you can kind of probably put together. But me,
I mean,
I got
it's
you, baby.
because I'm gay. Mm-hmm.
Ew. I'm kidding. No.
All jest. For legal purposes, anything we say is a joke.
Yes. Most things. Besides this top 10, these are not a joke.
This is not a joking matter.
As you can tell from the title of this video, we have brought you the correct top 10. And there's 2 top 10s here, right? One's Kay's and one is mine. Both of them are correct because as my therapist taught me one time, 2 opposing truths can coexist, okay? But the one that can't is the Oscars being right and us being wrong, okay? Because we are right,
that is true.
baby.
We are right, and everyone else is wrong. But except Academy, like, please consider us one day. We will turn around and be like, you guys get it right all the time. And like, you know,
watch us one day. I mean, not to like jinx it or like talk really egotistically, but like, imagine one day we're up there for like original screenplay or something, and then somebody just posts like the video of us being like, Oscars suck, we hate it. Which I don't. I do love it every year.
Listen, the Oscars are incredible, and the Academy especially. Like, again, I think that there are a lot of flaws, but a lot of them are getting very much better. The Academy has done incredible stuff with the advancement of a lot of different industries and a lot of really different, beautiful things. And ultimately, the Oscars do pay tribute to a lot of below the line people that should definitely be recognized. And as well as just in general, like, it's a great way to recognize great work done by peers who actually work in that industry.
And I think that my favorite thing about it too is that beyond just like kind of what we're doing here, which is just sort of our top 10, like getting to learn the names of people you don't, as you were saying, often get to learn. And it's across like all the awards spaces. Yeah. Like when we start talking about sound and editors, I'm like, I am more familiar with editors now and producers and directors. And when I'm going to look at films, I'm going, oh, I know the people who worked on that, like, or of the people who worked on that, and it makes me more excited to go see it. And the other thing that I really love is I don't get to watch all the films that come out in a year, and sometimes I feel like I've caught a lot of them, but there are a few that slip through the cracks. And so I like at Oscars time, the films that people are the proudest of tend to kind of come to the forefront. And so I get to go and search and see a little bit more of that stuff. So that's always exciting.
Well, and sometimes you get some really cool ones like Nickel Boys and things like that in there, which I'm like, I hadn't heard of any of this stuff. And then seeing it's like really beautiful.
I had heard of Nickel Boys, but it hasn't had a release in Australia still. So I haven't had a chance to watch, but I am keen.
Haven't got a chance to watch it either, but wonderful nonetheless. But Naf, that being said, tell me a little bit more about 2024.
Dude, I can do that. I've put together some fun facts, and they are fun and they are factual. Okay, as is required with this particular category.
I love that about my fun facts.
I love them when they're fun and factual.
It's great.
And it's sponsored by Crisp White Monsters, okay?
Can't you tell we are sponsored?
Oh shit, you got one of them too? Damn.
Yeah.
Did you see, I saw a video on TikTok of this guy who was like, a crisp white monster would save me right now. And then he stitched himself 3 hours later going like, RIP my DMs. And I was like, yeah, you didn't think about that before you posted it, did you? So here's putting it out there. A crisp white monster would save me. One with the films at gmail.com.
Anyway. You know where to find us. Anyway,
in 2024, we saw the release of at least 17 new films. The MCU flopped multiple times. The Oscars left so many people angry. Disney dropped a bunch of sequels. A bunch of people got cancelled. Pixar gave up on original stories. I think the DCU died, but it also came back to life on TV, I think. People keep begging for fresh ideas and new films, but continue to refuse to support them in the theaters. It's a whole lot of same shit, different year. But don't worry, we're going to take you on a ride today.
That's ready? Well done. And those were very factual and fun.
Yes. Now, a quick little spoiler alert. We're going to be smashing through the list pretty quickly for time's sake. The goal is to give you guys a bunch of stuff to add to your watch list that you hopefully haven't seen. But also if there are things that you have seen, like, look, we want to talk about it too, yeah? So we're going to work through them pretty fast. But that being said, we're not really focusing on like big breakdowns of all of the films. Just kind of quick thoughts why they're sort of up and about in our lists or in our minds. But there is a chance there's some light spoilers from here and there. So just be mindful that we're going to talk about them. If there's films that we both have seen, we might discuss that kind of stuff. But unlike a lot of our other stuff where we go really heavily into spoilers, you're probably not going to get a ton of spoilers here. Just a lot of like why we like them. But obviously, if you want to know nothing about these films, just listen to us say a name and then fast forward. Yeah. It's actually a very common thing for me to go and watch a bunch of my favorite creators, like top 10 of the year. And just like look at the list and add them all to my list, watch them. So I still have from 2024 probably another 30 films left to watch that I'm pretty confident I'm gonna like.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're one of my favorite creators, so I'm really looking forward to this list as to what I'm supposed to watch.
Nice. Well, the thing as well is that I find that I don't know about you with this, but Actually, no, I feel like I've taken probably some of this from you over the years because I remember us talking about how I watch a lot of films each year, particularly like new releases. And for the last couple of years, at least, like your like time in the theaters wasn't that much, and it was you saying to me that you want to go and see things that you're kind of like sure that you're gonna like at that point. At sometimes, you know, it's like, okay, if you don't have heaps of space, heaps of time, I don't want to go and sit in the theater for 2 hours and leave going.
Taking the chance on something is a little bit harder when you only have 2 hours. Like I've never related more than when in the movie The Menu, when Ray Fiennes is talking about, I saw your film.
So good.
I had 1 day off in a month, and I spent those 2 precious hours with this film. I did not care for your film. And just and he kills him for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I relate a little bit too hard to that now.
But what I found looking through like my list of films is so this year I watched from 2024 109 films. But even looking through that list, all the way from like number 1 down to like number 95, 96, like I actually enjoyed. So like I still often the films that I'm watching are coming from recommendations from friends that just have seen different things. I know like this year we had 2 of our really close friends, Sue and Tate, go to film festivals in different countries and talking with them about the film festivals. And we actually did an episode with Tate on his film festival journey. But
at the Facts Guy, you got to check him out.
Yeah, awesome. And doing some really great stuff at the moment too. It sort of do some big interviews over the last couple of months, which were really cool. But
he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, killer. We love Tate. But yeah, like talking with him and getting like his film festival experience around the same time as mine. New Zealand and Australia and Melbourne were at the same time. But he watched a bunch of different films than I, and so I added all those to my list. And some of them still haven't got a release in Australia, so I haven't watched them. But it's because the recommendations are coming from people I love and care about and respect their what's the word? Like their things that they like. Yeah, their opinion. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. God.
Hey, I'm an expert on them.
Okay. You have them anyway.
No, I'm an expert on my own opinions, yeah.
But it means that a lot of the time I'm going and seeing films like we were saying before from directors that I like. Or even I really like that probably the last 3 years in a row has been big for new filmmakers breaking into the industry. Like a lot of my favorite films have been like, oh, this is the first time from this person, first time from this person. And even down to like a week ago, watching a directorial debut from, you know, a couple of years ago. It's insane, man.
It is an insane thing. And again, as we talk about, and obviously anybody who's listening to this podcast, you know that original film is far from dead. And when you look at all this stuff, it's one of those things, guys, where if you think that original film is dead, you do have to give just new shit a shot. Like, obviously, as much as I do say that, yeah, I don't always want to go and try something new.
You are the problem.
I understand, but it's more I don't go and then say that there is no original shit. Like, it's more of I know it's out there. I know where to find it. I just don't choose to always go and find it.
Yeah,
but it's more, I think that there's the difference
in
what you
it's
guys
like recognizing the red flags in like a potential partner.
Yeah,
and still
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you still went for it. So we're here. And so now you're in a trap, and now it's like you can't get out of it. But nonetheless, but Naf, we decided, given that you watched how many films?
109.
And I watched less. So the thing was, we wanted to do our honorable mentions right off the top. And so, to be fair to each other, as well as just you, the listener, we didn't want to drown on about all these films as much as we would love to talk about all these films that we can talk about. We could probably do an episode on. But we're going to spend 3 minutes in total listing our honorable mentions each. So should we roll for who goes first?
Rock, paper,
what should we feel? All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
Wait, is it rock, paper, scissors or rock, paper, scissors, go? Which one?
Well, I always do rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I win.
All right, you win. There we go. You got it.
Okay, so I'm going to do mine in 2 parts, and I'm going to do them really quick because I do have a lot. As I said, we're doing top 10, okay? But that leaves for me 85 films that I liked, okay? So, wait. One more little thing just to consider here.
You tell me when to go.
So I'm just going to do mine in 2 parts. One is going to be, and it's still going to come in that 3 minutes.
Yep.
But one is going to be films that I'm recommending that you probably didn't hear of or most likely didn't see. And then the other ones are just honorable mentions that you probably would have expected to be in my top 10 because everyone has them in their top 10 and they're just not in mine, but I love them anyway. Okay?
For sure.
Ready?
All right. You ready? All right. And you.
Cool. Okay. So we watched 109 films, liked about 95 of them. Here are the films that you probably didn't see, but I loved. First one is I Used to Be Funny, starring Rachel Sennett. Fantastic film about an ex-comedian who's gone through some kind of trauma and is trying to get her life back together. Twilight of the Warriors, Walled In. This film's fucking brilliant. If you think action films are dead, this is one of the best you will ever see. Baby Assassins is the 3rd film in a series about 2 Japanese neurospicy assassins. They are fucking awesome. They're so silly, so cool. Conclave's probably closer to the other side. Not a lot of people seeing it. Ray Fiennes gave one of the best performances I've seen in my entire fucking life. Hitman was a surprise. A Netflix film that's actually fucking good. Problemista, the only film I've ever seen in my entire life with an El Salvadorian main character, and I'm from El Salvador, so like, Lisa Frankenstein, heaps of fun. That's simple. Kill is a Hindi action film of a guy who's stuck on a train and needs to get through fucking everything. Kneecap. Brilliant film. It's a biopic, but it is a good biopic. Saturday Night, another kind of biopic. Fucking fantastic. Memoir of a Snail, claymation by an Australian, I believe, Oscar-winning director, which is brilliant. Your Monster is a really, really cool take on the kind of rom-com kind of silliness stuff that you want. Viet and Nam, I saw at the Melbourne International Film Festival. It is a slow burn. It is fucking amazing. Femme, brilliant. Rebel Ridge, Netflix film that was really cool. Black Box Diaries is one of the best documentaries I'd ever seen. I haven't done heaps of documentaries, but it's about kind of women, and particularly one woman who experienced abuse by somebody really high up in the Japanese kind of corporate world. The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, recommended to me by Tate. Fantastic film. Bookworm stars Elijah Wood and is in New Zealand and is not Lord of the Rings. The Dead Don't Hurt is the first film written, directed, scored, and sound design, I believe, by Viggo Mortensen and starring Viggo Mortensen. Really cool. Better Man. Robbie Williams, I know that Americans don't know who he is, but I don't even really know who he is. But the movie's fucking brilliant. Dee Dee, man, if you're a 90s kid, perfect. There's Still Tomorrow is a film that we watched recently. It's 2023-ish, 2025-ish. It's kind of up in the air where it is. But one of the greatest films I've seen in my entire life. And then Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. Wonderful. Those are the ones you maybe haven't seen. The ones that you probably have seen. Challenges, Nosferatu, A Real Pain, Longlegs, Anora, The Substance, Queer, and Civil War. Films that I loved, didn't make it into my top 10. Probably all equal number 11, but that's me.
Beautiful, and you came in under time. Well done.
That's what I do, baby. So you keep friends.
Well done. Absolutely. There's a lot of interesting ones on there. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Do you want to rock and roll for me?
Yes, sir. Let me time you.
All righty. Shit.
Ready?
All right. Ready to go.
Boom.
All right. So mine coming in interesting. Absolutely. But my favorite thing is I loved Fall Guy. Fall Guy was one of those for me that I really enjoyed, especially what it did for the stunt community, and really trying to get action designer title out there so they can be considered for the Oscars as well. Bike Riders was one that I was really interested in. Austin Butler, Jodie Comer. It's fine. It's I was really looking forward to it. But I really enjoyed what it was starting there. Deadpool and Wolverine. Thought that I saw it with one of my best friends in the world, Paul Carey. We went to go see it together in the Chinese, and I think that I just will love it always because of that. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The apes are back, man. I thought that franchise was I love that franchise. I thought that it was dead after a circus was gone. So wrong. They're so good. Fly Me to the Moon. Channing Tatum, Scarlett Johansson, the Apple movie was great. Monkey Man. Monkey Man was very fabulous. Challengers, obviously, incredible work there. There's Still Tomorrow. Naf and I discussed this because I'm considering a 2025 movie, but technically it did have its like Oscar run this year. But as Naf said, one of the best films I've ever seen. That's why it's not number one on this list. And then also Furiosa. I thought Furiosa was great. Naf and I disagree on that fact, but I thought Furiosa was awesome. And then Anora. I thought Anora was very, very good, and I love to see Sean Baker take some gold home, and that's mine. That's my honorable mentions.
Bro, that's only a minute and 46 seconds. You can do better.
Well, I can elaborate. And so
we have a minute and 9 seconds left.
All right, so Fly Me to the Moon was one of the most interesting ones. It was about the basically the marketing behind the NASA moon launch. I don't know how much of it is real and how much of it was invented for this, but it feels like one of those things where I'm like, this actually would kind of make sense if that's what actually did happen. And I really loved it. A friend of Allie's did the production design for that movie. Very cool to see that. Challengers was just really incredible.
Challengers is so fun, man.
Challengers is so good. Like, it's just so good.
Luca just has like an eye for things, and there's some really unique and really cool like shot choices as well. Like underneath the tennis court. Exactly. I would love to be underneath those men.
Listen, you heard it here first, and Mike Feist of West Side Story, and so made popular, should have got an Oscar nom, should have won, but nonetheless, here we are.
Okay, baby, that's 3 minutes.
That's it, and I made a West Side Story reference in that time.
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you.
I am proud of me too. All right, Naf. So, I have two D20s here. For us getting into our top 10. Now, for our top 10, we are doing 3 minutes per film. So, Naf, which one would you like? We got red and green.
But I don't understand what's happening here. Is it just like who rolls higher goes first?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I will go with red.
Red, all right.
Oh, you fucked that up, didn't you?
Yep. Well, one fell off the desk, but yours was a 4 and mine was a 19. So, all right.
Sorry, but like, we didn't see it. Like,
I'm not going to mess up my shot.
It has to get
down here.
Okay, no, it's okay. You go first. Fine.
All right. All right.
All right.
Set the
3 minutes starts.
The timer going
now.
My number 10 film of the year was a big surprise for me. I think it was a big surprise for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people's top 10s. It revived a dead franchise for me, and I thought it brought it back to very much its roots in a very unique way through practical effects and through very unique storytelling. Number 10 belongs to Alien Romulus. Ooh. For me, I thought this was a tour de force. It was really cool to see. What was the film last year that we showed? It was the one that you really loved. That was London. It was in England, and it was the guy who's in Romulus who.
Yes. Oh my god, why am I forgetting this? I know we talked the rom-com.
It was like your favorite movie,
oh my god.
Yeah, Orange Banner. Anyway, it doesn't count towards my time, but nonetheless, him as the android, he was incredible. Isabella Merced, seeing her in there, this is what Naf and I talked about, like one of the tightest scripts I've seen in a long time, as well as one of the most unique scripts with Rye Lane, that was it. The lead of Rye Lane was in this movie playing the android, and he was just incredible to see him be so visible and to get such recognition. He's a very talented actor. I wish I remember his name. I'll look it up, but
I'll grab it for you right now.
He was just incredible, and I was just really excited to have watched this movie and walked away. One of the few horror movies I watched in the theaters, and I didn't regret a single moment. It was a thrilling time.
David Johnson is his name, by the way.
David Johnson. He was wonderful. I'm really excited to see what he continues to do.
Yeah.
But yes, that's my number 10 pick is Alien Romulus.
I really liked that movie as well. I had a lot of fun. I got to check it out in IMAX too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Some of the visual effects are dope. There are some action sequences in there in particular that are just really unique. I love the acid and anti-gravity one. Like,
yeah, we talked about
edge
that.
Of my seat, dude. Like, that shit was awesome.
Like, I mean, absolutely. Just the way that they use so much of plant and payoffs in that movie. And also I thought it was one of the best Alien movies to use, like, yes, it used practical and animatronics and things like that, but also it knew when to use CGI to make the alien very much more foreboding, because even in stuff like Aliens, I felt when they were using the rubber suit, it felt a little cheesy for me upon rewatch.
Yeah.
But I felt that using CGI to make the thing move very fast really felt right. So nonetheless, that was mine. Naf, what was your number 10?
Okay, cool. So you hit 2 minutes 45, dude. So that's good.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I'm ready when you are. Kick me off.
Go ahead.
Okay, so very similar to you with your number 10. My number 10 also revived a dying franchise through unique takes on existing tropes and using practical effects and introducing kind of almost melding a couple of genres together. But mine is from the Mission Impossible franchise. And the movie is Thelma. It's not part of the Mission Impossible franchise, but it is hands down the best Mission Impossible I have ever fucking seen. Like, hands down. It is brilliant. The story is very simple. Like a grandma gets scammed out of money, and they basically tell her, nah, sorry, it's kind of like, it is what it is. Like, you can't get it back, blah, blah. And so, and at one point, she's fiercely independent. Her family's trying to move her into like a home so she can have a bit more support, but she kind of doesn't want to do that. But a lot of her friends have moved into their homes, and their partners have passed away and all that kind of stuff. And she basically gets on her little scooter and goes on a mission to get her money back. And the best thing about this is how it plays on those genuinely like Mission Impossible type tropes. Like, it's like a heist film. It's got like all these action elements to it, but it's not shy about the fact that its two main characters are in their 80s. June Squibb gives one of the most wonderful performances I've seen in such a long time, full with so much heart. She's so fucking funny, dude. She brings a tear to my eyes because it's this lady who's, you know, like, the character, life is wrapping up, yeah? And she's not ready for it to be wrapping up. And on top of that, you know, she's got a really great relationship with her grandson, but the parents kind of are really disappointed in the grandson. They kind of helicopter parents, and so there's all these different layers, and the film is just so tight. And I got to watch it at the Melbourne International Film Festival with a packed theater, and it was one of the best cinema experiences I've had in a long time. Everyone was laughing, everyone was clapping. It was fucking awesome. I would recommend this to anyone.
Love it.
Go check it out with your family, with your friends. Like, but if it's at home, like, it's a movie night kind of film. Yeah, like, put the people together, grab some drinks, just have a good fucking time. It's so good. I love this film. It's got a 3.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Like, just some random film about an old lady trying to get her money back.
Gotta love it. That's fantastic. And I mean, just, it's always so fun with those film festival entries, right? Like, where when you go to a film festival, it's so different because you're seeing everything along with everybody else. The pool of expectations is very different than when you go into a movie. I find it's very different than when, you know, we were talking earlier about just going into a movie because I have 2 hours. If I have, like, I'm at a festival and I'm at the festival for, you know, 3 days, I love the fact that I get to go into a movie and not know what to expect and then just come out, wow.
Yeah.
Just, and to be able to feel that with everybody else is just so unique. But fabulous, my friend.
My number 10, baby, Thelma.
Number 10. So just to recap, number 10 for Naf is Thelma. Number 10 for me is Alien Romulus.
Okay, baby, let's go. Number 9, when you're ready.
All right, let's go. Okay. All right, let's rock and roll. All right, so number 9 actually comes from a viewer on this show, like a guest that we had. This was one that I came out of left field, and I thought this was so unique. The movie had come, and I'd heard a lot of things about it, but I also heard some mixed things about it from close friends of mine. And I went into this, I started watching it, and then because we were doing it for an episode, Naf and I decided to watch this movie together. And I was blown away by Longlegs. Longlegs was absolutely a masterpiece in horror cinema. I just was floored. Because again, Naf and I talk about it a lot. I used to hate horror because I thought it would scare me all the time. And then when I watched horror, I hated it for a different reason, which is I was scared for that. That was what I was so afraid of.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. But Longlegs is one of those movies when I'm like, now this is horror. Mm-hmm. This is something that messes with your brain. It takes assumptions that you were making and just really throws them on their head. How many times do you see the devil in that movie? We're still finding out. It's so disturbing. And again, I've had a moment with Naf as well, where we literally were like, I told him, how dare you make this look real? Like, because there was this one moment where they put like a just, 90s style, like HD camera on there. And I was like, I was so uncomfortable because it made it feel so real that I just couldn't do it. So that's my number 9 was Longlegs. So 2 horror picks back to back.
Yeah, like you're a new man. What happened here? What I do love about Longlegs as well is probably the last time I felt like that in a film was Silence of the Lambs, which we only watched together like a couple of months ago, but it just it felt like that, unsettling. It really like incredibly well shot too. Like a masterclass in storytelling through cinematography. It is.
I still think about that shot into the cabin, right behind her. And
it just takes you on this sort of ride. It's got very light like visual effects in there. Did you just like do a bump? Like what happened there?
No, I just needed to sneeze. I've been having allergies.
That's what I thought.
No, I have just
allergies. Yeah, so did Jordan Belfort.
Listen, number 9 is really good. But
great choice for number 9, dude. Great choice
absolutely.
For number 9. Okay.
All right. Let me get this rocking and rolling. And I thought 3 minutes wasn't going to be enough time, but now I don't know how we're going to do 5. And then I'm like, all right, here we go.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
My number 9 pick is, again, an animated film that is not by a major studio that just crept its way into my top 10, just like Robot Dreams last year. No dialogue. The brilliant thing about this film, it's directed by a man called Gintz Zilbalodis. It is made by a team of about 12 people working on free software that you can download right now. It is called Flow, and it is a film about a little black cat in a post-apocalyptic world, and a flood floods the world, and he gets on a little boat, and he has to learn how to adapt and survive by coexisting with other animals that maybe he wouldn't, like a dog and a capybara and a what's it called, a big bird and shrimp. And it just like, it is such a unique, not only unique but like beautiful. It's one of those films that takes its limitations. It's using Blender. It actually looks a lot more like closer to like a video game cutscene than it does like something like The Wild Robot. But for me, watching The Wild Robot and then watching this, like literally a month later, I was like, this is the one that needs all of the praise that The Wild Robot is getting. And I liked The Wild Robot, but I didn't love it. I thought it was beautiful. But this just has such a unique art style and passion to it. It's made by, like we said, 12-ish people. Like that's it. This tiny little team, and I believe they're all of where was it? I believe it's the Czech Republic origin. I might be incorrect there. But they're from a very small European country. And yeah, dude, it's based on a short film that he made for school when he was 16, and when you compare the difference between the original idea and this, it's insane. Animation is incredible. Color, art style, and art direction is insane. It is, again, blowing me away in the sense that it reminds me that there's nothing stopping you except you, Like you can just do it. And he just did it.
and the fact that it won Best Animated Film over like stuff from Pixar, stuff from this, it is one of those films that I was so glad to see everybody doing it. Again, it was the same thing we talked about with Godzilla -1 last year, where it's really cool to see people take their limitations and really make some art. And it shows you that you don't need fancy thousands of dollars to be able to go and do it. Just do it with passion and tell a good story. That's ultimately what anybody's caring about, and Flow really represents that. So,
and I believe it is currently going through. It got like another theater release, so there may be screenings in America right now. There are screenings in Australia at the moment too. So definitely go check it out. Again, even it's awesome. That's my number 9.
Beautiful. Well done. All right, so right now my list goes Alien Romulus and Longlegs, and then Naf's is Thelma and Flo.
That's it, baby.
All right.
Number 8.
Let's do it.
What's going on? Go.
We're going to continue a little bit of a trend that's going on with this list.
More horror?
So another horror film.
Okay, dude.
This was the year for horror for me. I think this is what sold me on the genre this year, because a masterpiece of gothic horror was released to the screen, something that I was excited for ever since it was announced. And I thought, if you're going to pair a filmmaker with a property, this is the one you do it with. And it's Robert Eggers and Nosferatu. I was so excited. And again, I have heard this comparison now, and I cannot unsee it, which is Robert Eggers is the Wes Anderson of horror and like folklore. And I cannot agree more. This man makes movies for me specifically. And this was the first film of his that I really felt the emotion, and I really felt I liked all the characters. I thought it was really well done to see some of my, like Ralph Ineson, seeing like some of my favorite like actors like that going in there and just really chewing up that scenery was just incredible. And obviously Bill Skarsgård with his "you must bounce on it," like sort of
wild style.
And the best part of the Nosferatu, like, when in the world did we ever think we were going to get Nosferatu memes?
Okay, but like following up on that, when did we ever think we were going to see Nosferatu's cold, decrepit male genitalia
penis
on screen? What?
Yeah. I mean, listen,
it was not necessary.
It was not necessary, but it has one of the fucking best jump scares I've ever seen in my life.
The penis?
Well, yes, but then I guess let me take that back. 2 of the best jump scares I've ever. So, but that first jump scare of the movie, hairs went up on my arms, and I just went, "Let's fucking go!" Like, by the way, for any people who hate horror, this is the trick. You wear your AirPods into the theater, and you just have queued up a silly playlist. And so anytime it gets too intense, you just click it, and then you just hear "Life's a Happy Song," and you just go. So
I hate that so much. Robert Eggers would be disappointed.
Oh, but I saw it, and so.
He's like, I still got my money. Nah, great.
That's
great
all
choice.
I'm saying.
I love Nosferatu. Like, it would have, like, I think for me, it just is that there were too many films in the year.
Oh,
Top 10's become
understandably.
hard. Top 10's become very, very hard. That's our 3 minutes though. Great.
That is our 3 minutes.
Choice though. I love Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 8.
Go ahead, baby. Let me get you all set up, and you're good to go.
Okay, so again, my top 10 are very like NAF core, yeah. And what I learned recently is that to a lot of people, NAF actually means bad, and it's like, no, it's just the cute name I chose for myself. I'm not bad. Okay, but we start to get into this with my number 8. This is Snack Shack. Directed by Adam Rahimia, someone like that. Coming of age film set in the 90s. 2 kids are trying to make heaps of money, so that they can have a sick summer. They're teenagers, so they go and run a snack shack at the pool. And then there's a new girl that comes into town, and they're both kind of keen on the girl, and they're best friends. And it's like challenges, but set in the 90s, like it, and for like teens. So really, really cool film. Funny as all fuck. Just like most of the films that tend to connect with me directly, it is got an emotional like punch to it. Like you are so brought into this world, and so like I would compare it a bit to like, do you remember in Easy A and Stanley Tucci, and I can't remember who played the mom, but like the way that the parents' relationship is with the kids.
Yeah.
It felt like that. And so it was just, it felt like a warm hug, And the dad is played by, what's his name? The chemist that they want to replace Walter White with.
Gail Bedecker.
Yeah. Gail Bedecker, yeah. He plays the dad, and he has this, just this softness about him. And it's wonderful. It's a beautiful film, really well shot, really funny. It has.
Did you see that at Myth?
I didn't see it at Myth. No, I rented it afterwards. But it stars Gabrielle LaBelle, who blew up with the Fabelmans, main character there. And he's another film that I loved this year as well. But what I love is the 3 characters that I've seen him play in the films he's done have been so wildly different. And somebody so young to not be stuck in a typecast is really, really cool. Like I felt that, for example, for a long time watching like Timothée Chalamet come up, I was always like, he's so talented. But a lot of time I feel like it's a similar role each time. It's always Timmy.
like I have no doubt that you can expand, but right
and
now
we've seen Wonka now, we've seen Dune, like he can. Man is fucking talented. But for a long time he was like that guy, And so Gabrielle LaBelle played in Fabelmans, that young Steven Spielberg essentially. In Snack Shack, he plays like the bad influence friend. The one like, let's go and do all this stuff. You've got one kid who's like, nah, I don't really want to go outside my comfort zone. The other guy's like, fuck this, man. Let's go. We got this crazy. And in Saturday Night, he plays
Lorne Michaels,
Lorne
right?
Michaels, yeah. He's great. Fantastic actor. This is one of my favorite films of the year. Loved it.
Beautiful. Crazy top 10 list we got going on right now.
So you're up to number 7.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Hit me.
This was the most recent film of 2024 that I have watched. This film was actually recommended to me by you. And it is one that isn't horror, but it's horror adjacent. And it's sort of a wonderful film that I don't know how this wasn't marketed better. Because it's A24 and it stars Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and it's about a parrot that's deaf talking to a kid with cancer, and it's her prolonging death. But then the question of, is death, what would happen if death wasn't in the world? And I told Naf this, and I'll disclose how I watched this movie the first time. So when I watched the movie the first time, I had taken an edible. And then at some point I was texting Naf while on this edible and saying, is this movie supposed to feel like a storybook? And you said yes. And I was like, I can't tell if you're fucking with me. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, there must have been something in this edible, because I'm sure that I am not watching what I think I'm watching. So I stopped watching it midway through. And then the following day when I was sober, I watched it from like earlier on, like about like a quarter of the way through, and it's the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same movie, and it is so good. The film's called Tuesday. It's wonderful. The director is Dana Owenhouse Pushek. I'm guessing kind of I'm butchering the name, but it's a wonderful movie. And it was so unexpected and so original that it leaves me going with, as you said, how can you look at this movie and tell me that there are no original movies left?
It was
and I'm so proud that it was
directorial debut as well.
And it felt like it. It was such an original concept, such a wonderful idea. And I think that not everybody's going to love it, but I think that's why it's good, is because it takes a big swing. I mean, death and a child sing a rap song together. Like that's this movie. And so I cannot rave enough about Tuesday. I thought Tuesday was fantastic.
One of the highest liked reviews for this film on Letterboxd is "The bird talks like Anna Faris trying to remember names in The House Bunny."
That's correct. That's correct.
And another one says, "Watching the parrot of death sing Ice Cube was not part of the plan." Like, come on. No, great choice, man. Great choice. That's your number 7, yeah?
That is my number 7. All right, Naf, kick it off with your number 7.
My number 7 was a shock. It was a shock to me. It was about 10 p.m. we sat down to watch. This is the 14th film that I watched at the Melbourne International Film Festival. End of the day, I'd watched like 4 that day. I'd worked a full day. I think I left work about 3 p.m. and did a 3:30, a 5:30, a 8:30, and a 10. And I sat down and I was like, I have made a mistake. I shouldn't be here. I should go home. And then the movie started. And I said, holy shit. And every 15 minutes probably, I was looking at my mate next to me going, what? Like, what? And this is Sebastian Stan's A Different Man. I believe this is the film he should have been nominated for performance as opposed to The Apprentice. He's had a huge year, but essentially we've got Sebastian Stan playing a character who has like a medical condition that's caused like disfigurement of his face. It also stars Adam Pearson. Adam Pearson is somebody who in real life has the condition that Sebastian Stan's character has in the film. But what happens is to kind of improve his life, he's very like, down on his luck. He hates himself a lot. To kind of get through that, he goes through this radical procedure to like fix his face. And when he does, it, unravels a different man. You've got a bit of like body horror there at the start of the film where it was kind of like actually a bit squeamish. But he becomes this new man. And then he goes about his life and realizes that somebody from his past that does writes plays has written a play about this guy she used to know and fell in love with, which is him. Because when he kind of sheds this skin, this ego, he starts a new life as a new person. He basically claims that he's dead. And so this lady is right, and he's been an actor this whole time, and he goes for the role. He's like, this is the role I was literally born for. It's me. It is me. And he goes, and then as he's in there, he gets the role, and then Adam Pearson's character shows up, which is somebody who has the real life condition, has a lot more charisma, and it's like opposites. Yeah, it's one guy who has this condition and has not let it define him, and he is actually like life itself. He's beautiful. He's wonderful. And it's about him looking at this guy going like, you're who I used to be. You shouldn't be getting the stuff that I want. And just every time I would ask myself a question of like, that's interesting, that choice. I wonder why it would go that way. It would actually like, it's like the film was reading my mind. Every single time I was like, what? It's like, I know what you're thinking. And fucking loved it, man. Great film. Fantastic watch. 3.8 on Letterboxd, directed by Adam Trimberg. Yeah, it and also his second what's it called?
Feature film.
No, where are we? Third feature film, but I think first like huge feature film.
I mean, listen, this was one of those films that when I heard about it, and I thought it was so great them using Pearson, like Adam Pearson, right?
Pearson, yeah. So the
because Adam Pearson, it was so interesting because also the way that they handled the actual promotion of the film, I thought was very unique. Again, I think they pretty much always just had Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson in an interview, and I think that was mainly to be like so they couldn't cut Adam Pearson's like interviews just to go with Sebastian Stan. And
the condition is called neurofibromatosis.
Yes,
Adam Pearson should have been in the running for like one of the best supporting actors this year. He is brilliant.
Yeah, like he again, this was one film that Naf and I were talking about. Both Flo and A Different Man were on my list to watch this week, and I didn't get around to it, and I was so sad because those were two of the ones that I was really intrigued by. Love Sebastian Stan, love that, but fantastic choice, my friend.
Hell yeah, man. Let's get to number 6.
All right, number 6. All right, let's rock and roll. Number 6 comes to me. I saw a trailer for this film online when it was just kind of getting a small release, and I had to travel a little bit to actually get to see it. And earlier this year, I went on a trip down to San Francisco, and I was really moved when I went to Alcatraz. And so I really started to do a lot of a deep dive into prison reform and things of that nature. And then to see a trailer for an A24 movie called Sing Sing, I was moved by the fact that it was actually a film about these people and they got to play themselves, and that it was actually like an ensemble cast that I thought was one of the best ensemble casts of the fucking year. And it was all formerly, like, besides Coleman Domingo, all formerly incarcerated people. And I mean, blanking on Clarence, like I'm pulling it up real quick, but
I can pull it up.
there's a no, I have it here. God dang, ad block. But there we go. Clarence Macklin. Clarence Macklin, who plays the supporting actor in this movie. I thought he should have been nominated for an Oscar. I thought he was. No, he wasn't. It was kind of a controversy there. Like, he was so good.
The Oscars are wrong. Go home. You're drunk.
The Oscars are wrong. This is why you're here. But he plays this character and he steals scenes away from Coleman Domingo. That's so fucking hard to do. It reminded me of Barkhad Abdi stealing scenes away from Tom Hanks and Captain Phillips. Like, it's very much akin to that. It's so beautiful, and eventually it just becomes about the triumph of the human spirit in a way, like that, you know, we're so afraid to get out of the prison of our own lives that, again, similar to what you're talking about, it's like getting outside your head and getting outside this moment. And there are just shots of like him holding his hand outside the prison walls, and it's just like through the bars, and it just moves me in a way that I just was so inspired by. And I remember getting out of the theater and hearing some people be like, I mean, it was fine, it was this, and I was just like, guys, what the fuck are you smoking? This was a great movie. And it's just it really hits to the transformative power of art, and it really, to find out also that this film was made with equal pay across the board.
Wow.
This film, like, actors, crew, everybody was paid the same.
That's cool.
And it was a new method in film, and they actually like got the money to the investors already like early, so everybody, it wasn't a back end deal. It was everybody got paid basically upfront the same.
That's cool.
That means like Coleman Domingo got paid the same as everybody else.
Brilliant. And you were worried about getting to 3 minutes. You were perfect on there. But I got to see Sing Sing at MIF as well, and I left and I messaged you straight away. I was like, yeah, this is something special. It does make me think, as you were saying, like we talk about like my particular distaste for like biopics generally, just like that, like biopics is like a genre, you know, like the generic kind of, but I've seen a lot more of them recently that just feel like this kind of falls in that space. Like, it is the story about people and their life, but it does just take on a new energy, you know? And this, these are something special. There's been a handful of films like that recently that I've just been like, yeah, I like this a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. So now moving on to you. And then after you do number 6, we should do a recap as to all the like top 5. All right, let me get this pulled up. And you.
I saw the TV Glow. Anyone who has seen this film understands this shit is monumental. This and like we're talking about obviously the volume of films that I saw this year. Like these top 5 probably feel the top, like the top 10 really are probably interchangeable for me. I could put anyone anywhere, right? Just this is how I was feeling today. But I saw the TV Glow. It took me 2 watches. The first watch I watched, I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then it was, I can't get this off my mind. And there are many films that I was just thinking back to it. And I was like, I want to see it again. and I kind of watched it again, but watched just sort of the second half again and really kind of sat with it. And I was like, oh my God, this is genius. And recognizing, so this is directed by Jane Schoenberg. And this is a director that I'm like, I'm going to follow them for the rest of my life. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Justice Smith gives his best performance I've ever seen up to date. The production design and the very subtle use of visual effects in this film are outstanding. It is very like inspired by the kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer type, it's almost there's like a Doctor Who-ness to it, of this campy 90s TV show villain of the week kind of stuff. And for a lot of my research and seeing the creators like talk about it, it's like a lot of this film is like allegorical for like the trans experience. It's like seeing the TV glow, and a lot of this film is there's part of that, and also in a wider form, it's like recognizing that there's a piece of yourself that you're not living to its truest extent, and what does that do to you when you live out your life not being true to yourself? And as we said, part of that is the trans experience for a lot of people. And at the same time, it's like the life experience for a lot of people as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that the film can balance that so incredibly well and be so stunning to look at. There's something about that like neon pink, whenever it shows up anywhere, you're like, I'm in for something good. It is wicked. It is really, really good. So it was written and directed by Jane Schoenberg. Cinematography by Eric Yu. It is, it's awesome.
Incredible. Like it just fucking awesome, brother. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like got nothing to add.
Killer film. 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Yeah. It's sick.
Yep. There
and you can watch it many more times. Like
you.
Okay,
awesome.
So that's our 10th to 6th place. Okay, give me your list from 10th to 6th again.
All right, from 10 to 6, it goes at number 10, we have at number 10, we have Alien Romulus. At number 9, you have Long Legs. At number 8, you have Nosferatu. At number 7, you have Tuesday. And number 6 is Sing Sing. And for you, my friend?
So for me, 10th place is Thelma. 9th is Flow. 8th is Snack Shack. 7th is A Different Man. And 6th is I Saw the TV Glow.
Fucking killer.
So let's get into our top 5.
Yeah.
Do you want to roll again, or do you want to go first? Or...
yeah, let's roll again.
You're going to show the camera this time, or you're going to cheat again?
Well, no, because I can't move the camera, because then the frame is going to be different.
You could lift the dice up.
And just roll on my hand? Like...
Do it. You wouldn't do it.
All right.
Who wins? They're both on 17. Okay.
And that's a 13.
Okay, so you win again.
I win again.
Hold on, I'm booting you from the call. No, I'm kidding. Go. I'm your top 5. I'm very interested in.
All right. So start that clock.
Oh yes, let's go.
All right. Now this number 5 was probably one of the more surprising ones for me, given like general feelings I have about certain types of these films, because I feel like they often become very dry and one note, and they don't really have much to say in the conversation, no matter whose side it's on. But this was one that defied my expectations. When I heard about it a little bit from some people, I was like, okay, this is really interesting and really intriguing, and it really caught me in very unique ways. And I'm just going to spoil it. It's Conclave. Conclave, for me, Ralph Fiennes, as you said earlier, gives one of the best performances he's given of his entire career. And I think but what was so interesting about it is I thought for something like this, they would go really extreme with a lot of stuff, but it was really unique. And I thought it was the exact conversation that we really need to be having right now in a religious space. And coming from a Catholic background, I really felt that this was a very poignant movie. Like, it didn't pull punches, but it also wasn't going for low-hanging fruit. And then there's a twist that comes at the end that I thought was so clever. And obviously, it was directed by Edward Berger, who is the director of the All Quiet on the Western Front remake.
I was gonna say that.
And he two-time Oscar nominee, I believe now. And I mean, this is the guy to watch.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sorry. He is one of both of those films are so fucking solid. I loved Conclave more than I loved All Quiet. I thought it was so unique and so interesting, but yet grounded.
Yeah.
Isabella Rossellini does a fucking her performance in that movie.
Best supporting actress.
Fucking awesome as supporting actress. Just what a fucking just wonderful. And I just thought it was so thoughtful, and one line that always sticks out to me is Monsignor, what do you know about war?
Yeah, right.
And I'm just fucking I lost it. And also just as you just texted me, all the posters for Conclave are fucking winners.
Let me see if I can focus that in. But just the color on these posters, and they're so simple. It's not
the color of the production design, also the music, the editing, the script. I was so happy that Conclave won for Best Adapted this year. It was so fucking good. So that is my number.
Tight,
the script is so tight. It leaves no crumbs. Everything is good. It is just. But that's my number 5. My number 5 is Conclave.
Fantastic choice.
Oh, all right, my friend.
Now, my top 5 is going to shock people because my number 5 film is the film that single-handedly took up the most of my time in 2024. No film in 2024 had more of my time than Dune Part 2. I watched this 3 times in 1570 millimeter screenings in IMAX. Oh, dude, I watched it the first time, just straight up like normal, and then I watched it in a back-to-back screening of Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. I watched it again. The thing about this film and the Dune series is they make me nostalgic for the history of physical media, where I have a Lord of the Rings set in the other room that is 6 films, 30 discs of behind the scenes, of appendices. I need that for this film. Each one of those movies that I have in the other side has one disc that is entirely just behind the scenes documentary for each film. I need that shit directly injected into my fucking veins, bro.
Yeah.
These are otherworldly. I love this film so fucking much. I spent, instead of packing and preparing for a 2-month trip, I spent weeks editing Part 1 and Part 2 into one film. And it's not a huge complex job, right? Because it's not stitching parts like this. It's just stitching the endings together. But getting that right and getting it perfect and making a 5-hour and 12-minute cut of Dune Part 1 and 2 into one film is just, it's so fucking good, dude. I love it. I love it. It's everything. I cannot wait for Messiah. I'm in, bro. I'm in. Denis, take my money, baby. Kiss me.
Fucking, absolutely. And I think that's just appropriate to transition into my number 4 pick, because
it's Dune.
It's Dune Part 2.
Whoa!
And so, if you want to get that timer started,
we can just discuss it. Yeah,
let's just fucking discuss. Yeah, so you and I, we saw this days apart from each other, and when we saw it, because you and I talked about this, because you and I had no idea where Dune was going, because we never read the books, we never did anything like this. So this was our Dune experience. This was Denis' films were this. I had a buddy who always was saying, just wait for Part 2. That's what Part 1 was really made for. And I remember you and I talking about when Part 1 came out. I was not as huge a fan of Timothée Chalamet in that movie. I thought, I was he's fine. I don't really care about Paul. I don't really understand.
Yeah? At that point,
he was fine.
He was the boy. That's his role.
I didn't know his game like that. I didn't know what they were doing with the character, and the cave scene The cave scene will go down in history as an iconic scene to me. I'm like, that cave scene, the camera work tricks that they did in that scene to make you feel like he has changed is brilliant, and I'm gonna steal the fuck out of it because it was just such a clever, subtle way to implant in the audience's mind, this is a different guy. And what I love about the Dune movies, I said it when the first one came out, was this is our generation's Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, obviously Lord of the Rings came out, still our generation, but like we weren't like full movie watching adults when that was the case. And Dune is that. And as you said, like I want all of the details. I want to know exactly how they made this movie.
I want all the secrets.
How Denis did not get nominated for best director of this is a
film of this scale
for either of them is a crime that will be studied for years. And like my thing is this, I think that movies like this are really important because between this and my and one of my other films, I love big cinema. I love talking about our small, done for a dime and a nickel movies. But this is what I'm talking about. Like I love when cinema uses all colors of the rainbow to paint a picture that is just so wildly complex, detailed, and just that's why I go to the movies. That's why, and I want to know somebody's thing. Truly, but like all jokes aside from the Nicole Kidman thing, it's like this is why.
Yeah,
I go to see people tell these grand operas on screen. I still, every time I think about it, I can barely watch the ending of Dune Part 2 because it leaves me feeling so betrayed and melancholic when I just see Chani on the dunes, just looking, and you just hear that wonderful Hans Zimmer score. Yep. Yeah. And it's just, and seeing them going like, Lisa Nogayib, which also, we let that meme die a little too early. I think we need to still be all going and saying Lisa Nogayib to everyone.
I love that the final shot of the film is of Chani.
With a tear.
Dude.
And that's it's the craftsmanship, and as you said, there's no doubt in my mind that that's why Warner Brothers said, Denis, you're not doing another movie until after you do 3. Like you're not doing that.
Also Austin Butler in the film.
Oh my God, my brother, my mimic. Like
again,
if you ever want to know what I would look like without hair, look at Austin Butler in that movie. And
I feel like the other part is the way in which the film kind of breaks conventions too in how certain scenes are filmed, like the use of the infrared cameras.
Oh my God.
Bruh. Oh my God. Mental. I love it. Great choice.
Fucking insane.
Okay.
All right.
Well, my number 4 changes it up a little bit. Ready when you are.
Go ahead.
So we get a lot smaller in my number 4. And this number 4 features one of the greatest working actresses who is incredibly underrated. It is it is Sometimes I Think About Dying.
Ooh.
This film made me feel shit, dude. This film inspired scenes in shit that we've written, you know, like
yeah.
Like I used like shots from this film in a lookbook. I was like, I want this. I need this. This is everything to me. I love that for the first probably half an hour of the film, main character doesn't say a word. She just watches. She just exists in that space, you know? And it's wonderful use of blocking and drawing the eye of the viewer to watching this wonderful, misunderstood human just out of place, you know? And that feeling of being out of place is just captured so fucking perfectly that I've been there. I've felt that, you know? Like the character's very like I would say autistically coded. I resonated with her a lot in how she reacted to certain situations. I was like, fuck man, like, yep, you got it. And it kind of delves into this fear, similar to what I was saying with I Saw the TV Glow, but less of the fear of living as your true self, but more the fear of how other people would perceive you if you shared with them your true self. It's like I am holding the deepest, darkest parts of myself in here and hating myself for that, and ostracizing myself for that, and keeping it away from you, because if I don't, you'll hate me. And it so beautifully explores the pain and agony that goes into opening yourself up. I think it was Andrew Garfield that said in an interview, maybe, that like to truly love was to allow your heart to fully tear open and allow somebody else to mend it.
Yeah.
This just captures that, Yeah, so barely any words. There's a surreal loneliness. One of the big things that I wrote in my review here as well is it's the feeling that everyone else is in on the joke, and unintentionally or not, you feel the sharp reminder that you're excluded, you're different, you're not one of them. Yeah, it's in a 4:3 aspect ratio. Love that. The use of color is stunning. It is brilliant, dude. I love this film.
Oh, wonderful.
Daisy Ridley. And she had another great film this year as well, The Young Woman in the Sea. She's doing some good shit.
Listen, Daisy Ridley, I always felt with the Star Wars films, like, again, I felt like she didn't really get the fairest shot after those.
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley has always been one of the greatest underrated actresses that's working right now.
She's having her Daniel Radcliffe moment right now. She's not
I think
Rey
so.
anymore.
I think that she has like moved into her own right, and she fucking deserves it.
She's wonderful, man. She's wonderful. Yeah,
well,
definitely check this out.
And absolutely. And so for the viewers at home, with the top 3, we are going to be moving into our basically 5 minute per film when we talk about it. Now, obviously, if we go under, that's fine. Or if it involves a little bit back and forth, that's also fine.
Yeah, we'll just use the space to kind of discuss the top 3 until we're bored of it.
Exactly.
Sick. But I want to hear your number 3, boy. Hit me.
Oh, man. Now, this one for me was one of the top 3 of mine. One of them, this was actually one of 2 of my top 3 that I actually was not only not excited about, I actively was rolling my eyes at the movie as it was being marketed and everything there. This film, I thought, was like, oh my God, it's probably going to be so on the nose. It's probably going to be just so, like, I don't care if it's A24. Civil War can't possibly be good. I was like this. I was like, and then I heard some rumors that because Dune had just happened. And I was like, okay, getting out of there. And I was bored one day. I was a little bit in my feels after a day of work. I really didn't want to go home, but I didn't want to, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my buddy had just gotten out of Civil War. And he goes, drop what you're doing and go see this movie. And there was a showing literally like 5 minutes or like 10 minutes later. And I was like, I'm going to just go with A-list. I'm going to go and drop in with this. Didn't have any other time to perceive this other than this. Oh my fucking God. I have rarely had a movie experience where I can't even articulate exactly why. And never in my life would I also feel like, oh my God, it was prophetic. I just thought this is so a distant future from us. And unfortunately with America, I hope it's not where we're heading, but we'll see. But nonetheless, it's the thing about it that moved me was I didn't know it was going to be about war journalism, like photojournalism. And I really was moved by every part of this movie. I mean, then also Jesse Plemons has one of his most scary moments I've ever seen. Like this movie felt so real. This movie just felt real in a way I couldn't articulate. And and not like no jokes. I don't want any jokes with this one because I'm like, this is just this was craftsmanship on another level for me, that I walked away from it going, I am moved. I am changed. This was my number one for most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next two came out, and it had to go down. But Civil War, I was gonna go like I'm gonna put this above Dune. I'm gonna put this above everything, like just because again, it's one of those moments where I like to think I'm big enough to admit when I'm wrong. And this was one of those where I was absolutely wrong with Civil War. Like Civil War was fucking brilliant.
I think that Alex Garland as a director has this kind of innate ability to kind of just make things feel so real. If you think about it as like Ex Machina, like
Annihilation, like
Annihilation too. That's a huge idea, but in a lot of ways, even though it is this grand sci-fi kind of, wild,
I still think about
tale.
I still think about that bear
Always
in that movie,
but
all the fucking time.
He just makes you feel real, dude. Like that's the wildest part, yeah. And what I also loved in this film, particularly, you're talking about Jesse Plemons' performance, and it kind of reminds me in terms of impact to the story, not quite like the story beat itself. It's very different, but it kind of reminds me of like watching Moonlight and watching Mahershala Ali in that film.
Yeah.
And just kind of going, he's not in it much. And you just think
but you remember him.
And it's the same with Jesse Plemons. It's what, maybe 15 minutes?
Yeah, I still think about the red sunglasses, and I'm like, I've just never felt so scared.
That line, what kind of America?
Yeah, what kind of America? And the thing was, it was in the trailer. Mm-hmm. I knew it was coming, and it still hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Like just going, what the actual fuck? Mm-hmm. What the actual like?
Jesse Plemons is one of those, like, when I see a project that's got him in it, it actually does draw me towards it, even though he's not a big like A-list actor.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, now he's an Academy Award nominee.
Yeah. Well, if you guys love Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst, they're married in real life. But season 2 of Fargo has them playing a married couple, and it is also like really, really good.
Hearing them discuss what their favorite films of each other's was a really cool part of that.
So beautiful.
That was adorable.
What
was adorable.
Hell? Yeah, cool, man. That's a really great number 3.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, on to my number 3.
All right, go ahead, bud. Go ahead. What we got?
This film came so highly recommended, and I had no idea what I was getting into. It was a shut up, sit down, watch the movie. Don't look into it. Don't do anything. Just watch it. And so I rented it one night, and I had the time of my life. And very similar to Flow, this film is made with a very, very, very small team. And you just wouldn't expect that it came out last year. This is Hundreds of Beavers by Mike Cheslick. It is like, especially last year, I watched for the first time a Buster Keaton film. I watched Young Sherlock Holmes, and it feels like that. It's crazy. And I've been watching so many like behind the scenes around how they did the visual effects and how they shot the film, and it's so like, how to explain it? It's like, I remember when I was hearing people talk about like when I was hearing the creators talk about the first Deadpool film, and like we had no money, and so we were just slapping shit together and trying to figure it out because this required a lot of money and we didn't have it, and it's like that.
Yeah.
And it's similar to In Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like the director did a lot of the like visual effects and the cutting and all that kind of stuff, and he's his own editor. He wrote it, directed it. He did the visual effects for it, and he's like kind of teaching himself how to do it and coming up with these crazy ideas. And it's very Wes Anderson in the sense that like there are some shots that are just stitch in here, stitch in here, stitch in here, stitch in here, and just putting it all together and then making changes on like the minute level. It is so immaculately presented. And Chase is in chat. Hello, Chase. Watch Hundreds of Beavers, baby. Yeah, it's a 4.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It was, I think, the top rated film for a little bit, and then I think it's around like 4th or 5th or something now. Obviously towards the end of the year a lot more films come out around that rating, but this film is fucking fantastic. I would watch it with anyone, anytime. There's a drinking game you could watch. It has basically a bunch of characters in costumes of beavers, and this one guy trying to kill hundreds of beavers. There is a Sherlock and Watson beaver that are trying to find out who's murdering all of the beavers. There's no dialogue. It's very like what's the word? Like we said, like that kind of Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, very played up, like it's almost for the stage. My review for this was cinema. I'm shocked at how they somehow got access to my 1,300 hours of Breath of the Wild gameplay and turned it into a movie. It's just like, I want the girl, and he's like, you can't have the girl, and you got to go and bring me like 2 wolves, and I'll give you a shotgun. And he just goes and brings it and drops him, and then takes the next weapon and goes and does the next thing, and then he builds up and up and up and up, and the film just keeps snowballing and snowballing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger in ways you just wouldn't expect. Cinema. Perfect film. Perfect film. Won't appeal to everyone just because it's fucking weird, but I promise you, similar to like Thelma, you could sit down with your mates, have some beers, watch this movie.
Oh, like just man.
You haven't watched it yet, have you?
No. Like I hate to break it to you. Like I was just thinking right now that I'm kind of collecting films for our Japan flight. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, this is one of them, because that was what I told you. I watched so many films on my last one.
The other ones to watch on the flight. This one you're not watching on the flight.
Okay. You don't get to choose what I do. Now I'm gonna watch those fight.
I do. That's what this is. Now give me your number 2.
All right, my number 2. This was a late addition in there, and it had gotten some buzz when I had been hearing about it, but I had a friend of mine, and her and I were like, okay, do you want to go see a movie today? I wanted to go see this, and I kind of was trying to get in the habit of just inviting people out to go and do something. And so we decided to go and see this movie. And now, context, we are 2 very neurospicy people. And so the thing was, we saw this, and I didn't expect to have one of the best representations of neurospicy isms be portrayed in a film starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. But I guess it makes sense. The film is a real pain. That is number 2 for me. This film, fucking insane. It was just absolutely incredible. This movie broke me in a lot of ways. I was really endeared to this movie because it reminded me of Naf and I traveling. And as I told Naf, I said, you are going to love this movie for a very different reason than like most people will. I love this movie so much because it just reminded me of the 2 of us, and we were both of the characters at different points, depending on what it is. And I just was so moved by how lovingly it was presented. This is in my category of like Kenneth Branagh's Belfast, where this is a film that I don't know why it works for me, but it just does. And I am here for this. I understand it may not be for everybody, but this is K-core to its finest. And yeah, that Real Pain was just fucking awesome.
It is a banger of a film. I got to see it as well, and it ruined me, dude. Like, I love it. It's one of those ones that, again, it was probably sitting in my honorable mentions, like 11th, 12th. Like, there were just so many things that I loved this year, and I couldn't sneak it into the top 10.
Yeah, it just, for me, once I saw it, I was like, I didn't expect it to get as high up on my list as it did, but I felt it was so elegantly made, and it just talked about a lot. It actually helped me learn to unmask more because I saw it in Kieran Culkin, and I'm like, I see it in you, and I see it's like all the as Jesse Eisenberg's wonderful monologue happens of like, I love him and I hate him and I want to be him and I want to, that whole thing there. I was like, I saw that in myself as well of being like, and I realized where I was like, when I saw how many people in the movie, and of course it's a movie, but at the same time in the movie, when people talk about how Kieran Culkin did make them feel uncomfortable, but then they thought about it and they were like, I've always been asking for people's feedback and no one ever does. And to feel like somebody actually did, and to give it like that it was good feedback and he actually was going to use it. I'm like, oh, that's maybe that's where I need to do a little bit more. And ever since then, I just stopped caring as much and realized that my viewpoint is just as valid as everybody else, and I didn't need to be everybody's taste. And so that was kind of that was
they're the films that change you, you know, like they're the special ones. God damn, man.
And so that's that, baby. That's number 2.
Brilliant choice. I now know what your number 1 is, and I hate you, but my number 2 is Dev Patel's directorial debut, Monkey Man. This was my number 1 for like most of the year until I saw my number 1 film. This was like monumental to me. Like hearing the story of how this came to be and exist, and all of the what are they called? The coincidences that conspired to not get this film to theaters, and everything that had to land for it. This film is, outside of the movie itself, I think an allegory for like creating art and being passionate about something, down to the fact that the entire film's planned, choreographed, prepared. Like one of the first early sequences, Dev Patel breaks his hand and can no longer do any of the choreography, but they have to do it, and so they adapt. And you can actually see in the film that for the tail end, he's not using that hand. He's crawling, and he's crawling with his arm. You can see that it broke it. People talk about their blood, sweat, and beers. Wow. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's the name of my basketball team. It was stuck in my head. Their blood, sweat, and tears going into a film, and there is nothing, like, this is everything of him. He gave everything to this fucking film. He went back and reshot shit in COVID using his fucking iPhone. Yeah. And I love the little nerd in me that watching the film, I know the shots that are iPhone. I can pick them. I'm like, I know it. It's that one and that one and that one. And it just, like, for a lot of people, I saw a lot of people say, you know, the film's not perfect, but it is kind of like magical in that sense. And it's like, to a certain extent, like, I agree. There was a lot about this film that I think the marketing didn't do it justice. I think there's a lot of times with films like this that, like, one of the things that I loved recently was seeing how, like, Neon in particular promote their films. And we learned that in the episode about Long Legs. And I wish that maybe this got that kind of treatment, where there was something a little more tailored, a little more special and unique to Monkey Man that allowed it to get the promotion.
Well, I mean, I felt the fact that it got promotion at all from Monkey Paw, like the fact that Monkey Paw bought it and made it happen. Like I felt that was just a miracle enough.
But the key difference here is the Indian John Wick is wrong.
Definitely.
And going in there wanting that, it's like the film is constantly beating you over the head as to why it's like not that, and in what ways it's deep. But it does still have its own little like universe. The way that this film also has like grief on the table as a theme, and what you're talking about, like unmasking and letting go, and like this man is like, what's the word? Completely engulfed by something, you know? And I think that that's also really great as metaphor for the filmmaking as well, that there is just one singular vision, unbreakable, that needs to come through. His character and him as a director experienced that at the same time. There was no stopping Dev Patel. This was going to fucking happen.
Yep.
Man, I love this. I love this so much for what it means to cinema, what it means to me. Like, it's got some of the best action sequences. One of my favorite little stories as well. There's a fight sequence in an elevator. The camera operator learnt the choreography, and he's part of the choreography because the camera is going under legs and arms are going over. It is insane. In a little tiny elevator, dude. They're doing everything right here. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Great film. That's my number 2.
It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. Like, Monkey Man was one of those, you and I discussed it. They're like, again, in my honorable mentions, I will always stand by. This is like up there with Good Will Hunting as to like the making of the movie is just as interesting as the film itself. Yeah. And like Monkey Man, just again, to hear that story and to hear that Jordan Peele watched it and was like, this is one of my new favorite movies. And the fact that he was like, why is this going to die on streaming? let me give it a feature, like let me give it a theatrical run, was fucking incredible. And I agree with you, Naf. Like, I think that the movie was just wonderful.
So sick, and man. So sick. I was like, if one day in my life I could bring something like this to life, that's it.
Just you can, baby.
Just
one. You can. You can.
I think also, yeah, in the terms of like him connecting to his heritage and wanting to tell a story.
Totally.
There.
You told me when you were going back, when you went back to your home, that you were saying, I want to make something like this.
I was like, I need.
And that was one of the
these.
most beautiful. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Was also the trans story that's in there, which was completely unexpected to me, and it was done so effortlessly and beautifully that I didn't even think about that. And I'm like, oh wow, my favorite kinds of films are when you got me thinking about a subject in a way that I hadn't before.
Yeah, it was also, I think it's one of those things that people could jump to and be like, oh, you added woke shit in here, like, well, and it's like, okay, yeah, look, obviously you and I aren't on that page, you know.
But sure, like you could argue shit like that.
But I also feel in watching the movie, it's not like it's not something that's like slapped in your face. If somebody told me that, I would fight them on it. Yeah, there are some things where you can watch anything that has like something out of the ordinary in it, and there's probably arguments for like, hey, was this necessary? Was it sure, whatever. But in this, like, I would stand on the hill, I would die on the hill that elements of this movie are so naturally integrated in and perfectly part of the story that it couldn't have been done another way. This is it, and it is a story about like the actual what's it called? Tagline for the film is "One small ember can burn down everything." You know, it is about the oppressed fighting the oppressors. You know, it's in A New Hope. Yes, the rebellion versus the empire. It is the small people coming to war. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Number one.
And listen, this is the second movie that I absolutely was shitting on the entire way through of its marketing, because it is something that means a lot to me. And this story has gotten me through some really dark times in my life. It is what has awakened a lot of very interesting parts of myself. It's what got me into various genres. My number one film of the year is Wicked. Wicked Part 1. I think that Wicked is one of the best. It is like this and Chicago are the best stage to and Tick Tick Boom, but Tick Tick Boom's in a different category in that sense. Best adaptations of a musical ever. Wicked was unfilmable. Wicked was one of those musicals that they had been in development hell for this movie for so long that I was worried they had just given up, and they just said, we're just going to do it. And we're just going to, and, you know, we're at least just going to do something. When they separated into part 1 and part 2, I rolled my eyes and was like, oh my God, they're going to try to, you know, bank something there. And then I accidentally talked myself into it by talking with a buddy about it and then justifying. I'm like, unless they're doing this and then doing, fuck, this is Dune for theater nerds, isn't it? And then I went and that's what it is. It's like this movie brought back, again, similar to Dune. I sat there and within the first song, that banner comes down at the end of No One Mourns the Wicked, and it's just, you know, you're in for a ride. You know, you're in for one of the most epic music experiences you're going to have. And I know you didn't, this was your first experience with Wicked, and I know you didn't feel the same way, but for me, someone who is like
part 2 is going to come in, and that's what I told you leaving the first time. I was like, I need part 2. I probably felt for this how you felt like Dune part 1. It's like, good, but you know,
I think that you'll understand. And it's one of those that, but for me to see this musical come to life in a way where all the details, the cameos, everything made sense. It was done with so much heart and beauty and love. And I wept I'm crying now thinking of that ballroom scene that they have in that movie of the two of them. And if you understand and have loved these characters for as long as most theater people have, that scene changed. Very rarely do I go something again similar to books, right? Like you go, it wasn't as good as the book.
Within me.
Within something is not the same. But to sit there with my partner, who our relationship started in part because we both loved Wicked, to sit there married, watching this movie, and both of us just in fucking tears. I saw it 3 times in the theater, like once literally the day after I saw it. Like I went back. I was like I haven't stopped thinking about this movie, and what they did was nothing short of brilliant and amazing. And I was so wrong about this movie. This was not a cash grab. This was a movie done with so much heart, and it is a crime that John M. Chu was not nominated. I thought Wicked was a dark horse to win Best Picture. I still think it to this day of this was both Dune and Wicked. When I think the term Best Picture, that's what this means to me. It's a film that every fucking department came out on top. They just I saw it too. And so Chase came in with the killer of saying that Dune and Wicked both open with women belting. And it's correct. But it's just Wicked to me. Popular, like what they fucking did with that movie is still, I can't, I have very few words for it. It was impossible.
Yeah.
And the fact that they rose to the occasion was beyond brilliant.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And the fact that Defying Gravity, a song that is so iconic, and they fucking did it. People kept saying, oh, you're going to cry during Defying Gravity. I'm like, but I know it's coming. I know what the song is. And they were right. That moment where she turns around and she's in the outfit and the drums that John Powell added to like just the kind of like just going right there right before the ending. Fucking how do you not just see the brilliance? This is one of the greatest films that's ever been made. It just truly is.
I think that it goes to show that when you put together a team of passionate people where everybody loves what they're doing, this is the kind of magic that you can make.
The fact that Alice Adams was not nominated for Best Cinematography with this movie was fucking a crime. Like I'm just I need to make sure that she wasn't, because I'm like
I don't believe
but
so.
anyway, like that's my.
It's a great choice number one. It's a great list, dude. Like, yeah, 10-1 is fucking awesome. A great year for you. I'm very proud of you. You doubled your watch list. Now, like from 5 to 10 is not a huge feat, but for you it is.
Hey, for me, listen, you take what you can get, and it's
yeah, baby.
Yep. I'm sorry, Alice Brooks. Alice Brooks. I knew I was getting the name right, but Alice Brooks was the cinematographer. And let me see here. Nope, she was not nominated for Best Cinematography, even though she should have, because that movie was fucking brilliantly shot. And fuck you, Academy. Even though I love you, nominate us. And so for this, but nonetheless, Naf, number one, baby. Take us fucking home.
Number one for me has been hitting the back of my brain for the last like 30 minutes. And if you go back and skim through this episode later, you will see random moments in which tears just well up in my eyes, just randomly, because it just keeps hitting me. And it is, I think, one of the reasons why it came to number one for me, a lot of it is timing. Yeah, it's a lot of timing. And it's not a film that's beloved by a lot of people, but it pierced me in my soul and it's stuck there. It's not going anywhere. It's Tuesday. You had this film on your list of number 7. I recommended this to you. I recommended it to a lot of people. I lost my dog earlier this year. My childhood love, yeah? And it was a really difficult time because there is this, at a certain point, it comes a time where you have to make a decision for an animal that you've loved and cared for 15 years. Yeah, like half of my life, this creature has been a piece of me. And there comes a time where they are, like, you look at them and they look at you and you know that they would take any extra moment with you that they can get, and they would do it for you, and they wouldn't care that they're in pain and suffering, and they would just be there, you know? And like, this film captured that so perfectly for me. You have a mother and a daughter who is incredibly sick, and this creature, death in the form of this macaw, comes and befriends the dying child, and comes to her at a time where her mother is not there, and the child begs death just to wait a minute, just give me a bit of time for her, not for me. And like, watching her, what's her name, Lola Pettigrew play the titular character Tuesday, like, she's so sick, you know, and she's just holding on, and there's this bird, and she befriends the bird, and then, as you were saying, this film goes in just this wild like storybook direction that you just wouldn't expect, and it shocked me at every corner, and it guided me through my grief. It gave me understanding. Like, it healed me, you know. And there were points where I was sitting there and I was sitting next to like one of my best friends who is just like notoriously dead inside, according to him, not according to me. And I'm watching it get him, and I'm like, that's how I know this is special, because nothing gets him, and this did. And I just was in awe the entire time, and I felt like it was the hug that I needed, that I didn't even know I needed, you know, because it happened months earlier, and I felt that I'd processed a lot of it. Even now, you know, it's like Andrew Garfield says, yeah, all of this is unexpressed love, you know, like it's never enough time. And I'm sure that I can't compare me losing a pet to a mother losing a child. This is the closest thing that I have ever felt in my life.
Sure.
I am so lucky to not have gone through the death of a close relative or family member or parent or child. This is it. This was the big one for me. Never anything like this. And this was everything to me at the time I didn't know I needed it most. And it, again, as I said, it held my hand and took me through understanding the decision that I made, and the weight of that decision, and like, it just, I don't know, it told me I was going to be okay, you know. Yeah, man, like, I love this so much.
Yeah,
and that's my number 1.
I mean, it's a beautiful number 1. I mean, again, when you told me about it, and like when I was kind of reading about it, I was like, this is fucking brilliant. And when I was watching it again, as you said, it puts death in a way, again, similar to, we watched Seventh Seal for the podcast. It was a similar vibe of being like, you take death and you take a little bit of the sting out of it, and you make it understand that it's not an evil entity. It's a thing that happens, and it's not evil. It just exists. It's just doing its job. It's ending suffering. It's ending these things, and it doesn't help us as the living, but it's a part of it. And it was a moving representation of that I thought was a very unique way. And again, the choices that it makes, and it basically just, again, to me, I think it says fuck you to the conventions. And it goes, and it just says, yeah, like, what if we did this? What if we did this? And this is where the story goes.
And I think watching watching a mother come to terms with grief and letting go, by having her inhabit that role and having to deliver it to so many people.
Yep.
Like that was so brilliant. And there's a line in the film that I just loved, and it was after the kind of big moments you can probably expect come in the film. And you have Julia Louis-Dreyfus kind of just staring into the distance, and death comes back to her to check in to see how she's going. And she says, "Why am I here? I'm nothing." And it just rocked me at the end. It's a film about letting go, you know? It's like your world ends, everything else just kind of continues. And people hold on to one another, you know? I wrote in here, where are we? The wound never heals, and while it remains open, even when it does scar, even when it does like heal, a scar remains. You always have that reminder. And it's the idea that love given is never love wasted. And it poses the question of, can you love someone else more than you love you? Like it's funnily enough, I think of Shrek 2, and if you love her, let her go. You know, like that is
Yep.
I mean, like that's core to this film. It's that, yeah. Time isn't promised. This is it. Like that. This is everything. I loved it.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful, wonderful movie.
Okay, so, take us home, Kay. Like, what was your top 10 once again?
All right, so at number 10, it was Alien Romulus. At number 9, it was Longlegs. At 8, Nosferatu. Number 7 was Tuesday. Number 6 was Sing Sing. Number 5 was Conclave. Number 4 was Dune Part 2. Number 3 was Civil War. 2 was A Real Pain. And number 1 was Wicked Part 1, baby.
Wonderful. And for myself, number 10 was Thelma. Number 9 was Flow. Number 8 was Snack Shack. Number 7 was A Different Man. Number 6 was I Saw the TV Glow. Number 5, Dune Part 2. Number 4, Sometimes I Think About Dying. Number 3, Hundreds of Beavers. Number 2, Monkey Man. And number 1, Tuesday. And that, my people, is the one with the film's top 10. The correct lists. You can choose
the correct fucking list.
Yeah. And I wonder, Kay, coming into the new year, obviously we're a few months in now. We usually time these kind of post Oscars as a sort of wrap up for the year.
Yeah.
But, and thank you, Chase. Respect for Sometimes I Think About Dying. Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what about for this coming year? I mean, there's been some films that have come out already, but generally the first 3 months, there isn't heaps that comes out.
Yeah.
What have you got?
It's usually your time to catch up on things there.
Yeah.
Besides
Wicked Part 2.
Well, Wicked Part 2 is number 1. Absolutely. That's just what it is. I'm going to be feeling the same exact way in a year. It's the longest intermission in my life. And but I think if I do have children, I am going to have to make them wait the year that I did. And then but nonetheless, the thing about it, I think that Formula 1 movie has really got my attention right now. That one really looks so fucking good. I think though, Superman. I love James Gunn, and I think that it's a very important movie for the history for the future of the genre, frankly. I think if that movie doesn't kill and is fucking brilliant, I think we're going to see superhero movies die for a little bit. I think that that's what's going to happen. But I am interested in Jurassic World. I love.
No, I'm kidding. Go on.
No, but because of fucking Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I love seeing his vision and what he does with VFX and how he does that. I think that he's just a brilliant creator. And I think that this is another example of that. And I'm very excited to see where that goes. There's a couple that I am interested in. Paul Thomas Anderson has a new movie coming out that I'm curious about as well. I think, oh shit, I just had it. It's leaving me. Oh, I guess it's not so much on the film front, But there's some killer TV that's coming out this year. We got Last of Us Part 2. We got Andor Season 2. And I mean, those two alone, I think I am more excited for than all of the films that could possibly come out this year. How about yourself?
I'm just looking through a like a letterbox list of somebody who's compiled all of them as well, because I was thinking about it and I was like, I can't
cheated.
think of heaps.
Cheater.
It's funny.
I was going off of I was going off the dome.
But looking through the list, it's like I feel like what we were worried about with the writers' strike in 2024. I feel like maybe there's a bit more of that happening this year than
probably.
Last year. And I mean, it's still early, so this film's not like full. But there's lots of sequels coming. Zootopia 2, Bad Guys 2, like it's like it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a sequel to Nobody. Didn't know that was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am excited for Thunderbolts.
Yes, I am excited for Thunderbolts as well.
I also at the very least it's optimistic because I feel like they're lying to me. They're talking about it's a little A24 film and they've got all the marketing right, but I'm sorry, you don't have the run rate.
You don't have the track record to
all
be able to say it.
All of the individual people that are in this do, absolutely. And they could put together one of the greatest films to date. But the problem is, it's impossible for Marvel to not have their sticky fingers in everything. And this is only going to be good if it doesn't have sticky fingers in it. It needs to be like how there are some projects that they're like, we don't give a shit about it. Go deal with that. It's the Disney thing, It's like Andor was like, nobody cares, nobody wants it. Go just deal with it. Bad Batch was nobody cares, nobody wants it. Just go deal with it. They're the things that are good, You have things like I was thinking of Michael Giacchino's what's it called? The Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
The short film that he did, and I'm like, that is kind of how I want it to feel. So Thunderbolts, yeah, sort of. I saw Mickey 17, which is pretty good. Superman is definitely on the list. F1 is on there as well. I think Joseph Kosinski is one of the most interesting filmmakers. And looking at his trajectory of films, man did one feature in 2022 called Spiderhead, and then he went to Oblivion. Then he went to Tron Legacy, Top Gun Maverick, and now F1. And each of these films have just pushed the boundaries of like how you make something. For F1 in particular, I was reading that they developed new cameras to work in similar rigs to how they did Top Gun Maverick for filming those movies. And you see it in the trailer that you have these shots of like the camera swinging forward and backwards. It looks awesome. I'm really keen to go check that out in IMAX. I think it's going to be fucking epic.
Yeah, there's a couple more that I want to add to my list as well.
I'm going, so you can wait.
No, you can fuck up. No, go ahead.
I'll mute you. No, I'm kidding.
I know you will.
The other ones are Sinners.
Yes, that was one that I was just about to add.
Yeah. Death of a Unicorn looks interesting. I feel like it can be kind of one way or the other, though. It could just be awful. It might be really good. That's interesting. The Michael Jackson biopic that's coming is directed by Antoine Fuqua, who did Training Day that I watched for the first time like a week ago. And that's what got me interested in that film. I was like, sir? Sir? So that could be interesting. But again, biopic, unclear. One of the other ones was Opus. It's starring Ayo Edebiri, and she is just one of my favorite working actresses. And I will watch everything she is in forever. It will never not be a thing. I'll never get tired of her. Yeah, there's some of the big ones. Ballerina. Kind of keen. Kind of worried.
Ballerina, yep.
Like, it's just, it'll be interesting. And of course, I'm very excited for Avatar: Fire and Ash. Kidding, I'm not. I'm not excited.
I was about to say, fuck off.
Yeah.
So
that's probably mine. More stuff will come up, but yeah.
Well, I got a couple more to add to the list.
No, one more.
To you.
Wake Up Dead Man.
That was one of them that I was about to add.
We just lost the camera.
No, but I have it here. Hold on, I got the battery. Talk about Rian Johnson.
He made one of my favorite films of all time. The
all right,
Last
Jedi. Never mind. You can stop. And so,
The Last Jedi, baby. Also deals with love. And
you were so emotional.
Very core. The Materialist. I got to see past them filming in New York as well, and I didn't stop and watch and see Pedro Pascal in person because I was really high.
Yeah, fair. My to that end, Materialist, another couple in there, two of them that I want to add because this is another example of like White House Down, of like two people making movies kind of simultaneously around the same time. Of Guillermo del Toro's Dr. Frankenstein comes out this year.
Oh, cool.
And The Bride of Frankenstein, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, is also coming out.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of ones that I found on this list that I didn't know were a thing, but look pretty cool. Chloe Zhao has another film coming out.
Interesting. What's she doing?
It's called Hamnet. It says Agnes Shakespeare, the wife of the world's most famous writer, struggles to come to terms with the loss of her only son, Hamnet.
Wow. Okay, that's
which I'm
sick.
like, all right, Chloe Zhao doing like a period piece sort of thing.
I'm here for it.
Marty Supreme, made by one of the Safdie brothers, with Timothée Chalamet.
Love the Safdies.
This one seems interesting. I don't know anything else about it, but I was just looking at the cast, and then the general title was it's The History of Sound. Two young men during World War I set out to record the lives, voices, and music of their American countrymen, and it stars Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor.
Sold.
And that's why I was like, sexy. So
sold. So sold.
Yeah. And then there's, I don't know, just like there seem like a lot of interesting movies. Like, I don't know if it's going to be the ones that are going to be like, also that Presence movie comes out this year.
Awesome. I also just see here there's a Gunslingers film, which is Nicolas Cage in a Western.
Oh, dope.
Directed by Brian Skiba, who I don't know any of his other work.
I don't know anything about it, but let's move off of that. Well, Naf, this is wonderful.
It's been a wonderful season 3.
It's been a wonderful season 3, and that concludes our season 3, but we will have our finale. Our
one
final.
With the filmies.
Our one with the filmies, our Bat Baby. And we got a lot of exciting announcements and a lot of really cool stuff. But if you have been on the show or have watched the show or are fans of us or fans of Funny, you got to come.
Fans of fun.
And fans of fun. Absolutely.
We'll send out invites again and make it a whole thing. But we would love to get everyone back and hanging out.
Everybody come be in the chat. That was so fun last year. So we got some ideas coming up this year. But nonetheless, that will be on
2 weeks.
April, it's April 3rd, or I'm sorry, April 5th, right?
April 5th. Yeah.
April 5th for me, April 6th for you?
Yep. One day before I fly out for Japan. So.
Absolutely.
And
to all those going.
And you're going to be in Japan, you're going to be at Star Wars Celebration. I'm going to be there all 3 days.
Let us know.
Kay's going to be there on
I'm
Sunday.
going to be there the last day, but I will be in Japan starting on that Friday. So we are so excited to see each other. One of the films takes on Japan again.
Let's go, baby. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you. I'm so excited.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Brother, it is always a pleasure and always a beauty. And also to all creators who definitely don't watch this shit, thank you for making movies. Thank you for sharing your art. Thank you for in this troubled times making beautiful entertainment that help inspire all and touch the lives of many. We're looking forward to it. Absolutely, just like West Side Story. And now, as we continue to go on, a final reminder that you can find all links to our individual pages in the description below. You can also find One with the Films on Instagram and TikTok and all of your favorite podcasting platforms. But for now, go to sleep. We'll see you in 2 weeks with our season finale, The One with the Filmies, Part 3.
Hell yeah, baby.
All right.